I think we're recording. What's the crack?
Far away.
Good to see you across from me, Lee.
I know. I feel like Donald Trump on these, before his inauguration.
You reckon you get elected?
On Joe Rogan. I think I'd get elected, yeah.
I think
I'd be great.
Well, look, you came all this way, right? I said I'll give you a little gift, right? Because I need you to loosen up your talk, right?
And it's a big
I've got
bottle.
you a bottle of Jameson's. I
Well,
actually
thank you
brought it.
very
I
much.
didn't bring it from Ireland. I got it down the street.
It's a 1 litre one as well.
It's a 1 litre. You can bring it home with you as well.
Yeah, I can take that with me tonight.
I know you're a man who loves his Jameson's.
Well, that will save me. I will take that back to the hotel tonight. In fact, I might have a little bit now.
I've heard you water it down, so...
I do water it down, yeah. I can't drink it neat. I mean,
No.
I'm not, it's an Irishman it takes to drink it neat, doesn't it? Should we go for it?
God, but don't drink it neat because I need to be somewhat coherent by the end
It's
of
got
this
one of these
conversation.
things in it. It's got actually a little,
What is that thing?
like a little thing in the top.
So you don't drink too much, is it?
I don't know what it is. It's like a...
Get it into you.
Oh, that's a bit...
There you go. So, I'll be honest with you. This is kind of my first time to do this podcast with this new studio, and I'm genuinely kind of a little bit nervous, a little bit excited, and one of the things that I want to kind of get to be able to do with this is to be able to just have a conversation with someone, as opposed to kind of like coming in here with a script or a load of questions or trying to grill you and figure out what you're about. It's just like us to sit down as if we were having breakfast. Maybe not all the stuff that we talk about, because we might get banned on YouTube, or I might lose my business. You know what I mean? So grab yourself some water there and basically have a chat with you. So for anyone, I'm fairly sure that most people watching this now know who you are. But at the same time, I'd like you to kind of give people a picture of, who you are now and what you do and how, I suppose, you make your money, really.
How I make my money?
Yeah.
I am an underwear model for Georgia Asda, and for the larger size. No, I am a content creator. I must say I like filmmaker better.
Yeah.
Because I've always been a filmmaker. But I am a YouTuber. Doesn't sound great being a YouTuber though, does it?
Why not?
Sarah, who is my partner.
Yeah.
Can't say girlfriend apparently. It doesn't work. So I've been told, but she's my partner.
I get the same thing.
She doesn't see it as a great job and always thought it was better to be a graphic designer. She just says it's a little bit... I think she finds it a bit childish, although it makes more money than when I was a graphic designer. So
Yeah. But the thing is, if you're I understand that concept of YouTuber, but YouTubers now are more, I say TikTokers is the younger group and YouTubers are kind of the older group.
Yeah.
And I can understand that, why someone would look at a YouTuber and say, oh, they're just a big kid or whatever. But the way I see your YouTube channel is it's like a television channel, except for you do every part of that channel. So if someone's got a television channel, they will have a full crew. They go out with camera guys, they go with a producer, they have a director, they have an editor, they have all those things that need to be done to basically put out whatever their video is. You're all of those, along with being a presenter. And in my opinion, from watching you on YouTube and hanging around with you, you are the level of presenter of TV. But I reckon you probably get more people looking at your channel than some of the TV channels in the UK.
some of them get a huge amount of views.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm being so sensible. You got Lee rather than the MacMaster.
Yeah.
It is a persona.
Yeah.
It is a persona. I keep looking at the camera because that's what I do on YouTube.
It's hard to avoid.
It's
Like
hard
you're
to
trying to
avoid
not look at the camera.
Yeah, I know, because I'm used to looking at the camera. You have to put a persona on for YouTube, I think. And yeah, I film, edit, upload, write the theme tune, sing the theme tune. You know, it's just I do everything, and it's. But you have to put a bit of a persona on to be a YouTuber, because you can't come across as. But you find your way. I'm diversifying here, but you find your way. When I first set up my YouTube channel, it was at my apartment in the States.
Yeah,
and
Hoboken, wasn't it?
Hoboken, New Jersey. Yeah. And if you look back at that video, it's not cringeworthy, but you think, my word, I'm really scared in front of the camera, and you wonder where people. Somebody asked me the other day, what do I do? Where do I start? And I just says, keep making videos, and you'll find your way.
Yeah,
you'll find your way, because you become a persona, and then you build into something. I mean, like the MacMaster, which is not like me at all.
Parts of you though, in fairness, like from hanging around with you, there's parts of the MacMaster are you, but they're like an elevated version of you.
Yeah.
Like you with 20 cups of coffee.
Yeah, and 16 Red Bulls.
Because I remember being on a boat trip once, right? And you're like, you're like, I'm literally dying. And then it's like the camera comes out, it's the MacMaster. And you went from this guy who's literally dying sick in a boat to like full energy presenting this video. And that's the kind of difference that I see between you and the MacMaster is like, you have to perform in front of that camera. Like,
yeah, it is it's a bit like being Ron Jeremy.
Yeah.
Performing in front of the camera.
You're
don't know
talking
who he is.
now, I haven't a clue. I'm literally looking at you going, who's Ron Jeremy? Like,
Does our producer Colin know Ron Jeremy?
Who's Ron Jeremy, Col? Is he? Kids don't like this. Definitely, this is going to be an over 18 plus video for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, you feel like Ron Jeremy. So
performing in front of the camera.
So, like, at any point, do you kind of feel like days where you go out and you think, you know, I really couldn't be bothered with this. I couldn't be bothered.
I've got a lot
on this act.
at the moment. I can't go into this.
Yeah.
And you know what it is. I've got a lot going on in my personal life at the moment. So you get people, when are you going here? When are you going there? When are you doing that? When are you doing that? Well, and, you know, why not with your kids? Why not with your girlfriend? Why not? And it is a job.
Yeah.
And it pays, and that has to pay the bills. But I know I've got a lot going on in my personal life at the moment, and I want to be with my family. But I can't, because I've still got things at the moment to pay for. Because the more you become successful, the more money you have, the more you buy, the more bills you have. It's like I've got, you know, 3 houses now, so and you have to pay for them houses, and you have to work for it. So,
but it's not only that. Like, my understanding, anyways, and from like having small parts in the YouTube kind of algorithm, is the minute you stop producing videos, you're literally punished for that. They will stop pushing your videos, so your income drops. So while you are doing this, as I say, we say a freelancer or whatever, and you're billing, or YouTube are paying you, you're self-billing, you're getting, if you don't consistently produce videos for them, you will lose revenue and your videos will drop off. So it's like, if you take a break, it takes time to build up the views again afterwards. So it means that you have to be constantly on it.
I actually got to the point about a couple of months ago, 3 months ago, I just thought, I'm reaching burnout, and I've reached burnout before. I was in the States, and I wasn't well, and I ended up going to hospital, etc. And I don't know what was wrong. I just absolutely burnt out, because you work in. You've seen how many hours I work.
I remember, was that around the time that you had a serious emergency coming off a flight, wasn't it?
I went on
Jet 2, wasn't it, or some flight you were coming back on? And I remember, am I right in saying you rang me?
That was my sinuses. That was but this was.
But you were stressed at that time as well.
It's people will look, and you will get people looking at the camera again. You'll get people commenting, saying, "Oh, it's an easy job," blah blah blah. It's not, and it can be. It can be as easy or as hard as you want to make it. I upload a video every single day. Yeah, I have to film. I have to edit it. I have to upload it. The flight videos are a nightmare, and I have to. How
many? So when we talk like clips, how many clips are you talking for? Like that you have to go through and edit
on the flight video. The last flight video I did was over 680 odd clips,
which is how many minutes then?
That comes out. It'll probably be out by the time this comes out. It's about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It took me nearly 16 hours to edit it.
Okay.
So when I flew over from Alicante. I got here. I checked in.
Yeah.
And the first thing I do, I was just go into the hotel room and I edit. So I don't even go out, because I know the next day I need to be filming. Yeah. So I've got to work through the night to edit that video, and also to upload it, to send it to the sponsors, because it's a sponsored video, for them to check it and approve
it's okay before you release it.
Before I release it. But I also then have to think, right, well, that's going out on that day. They need a couple of days to approve that. Yeah. So I need 2 more videos before then to make sure that run up to that video is covered, because I'm uploading daily. So you're having to do that. And then while I'm editing in the hotel, if I'm editing in the daytime, I'm not out filming. So I have to edit throughout the night. But I need to sleep. So what I tend to do is I go to bed midnight, maybe 1 o'clock sometimes, because I do have a little sit down for an hour just to chill out. And then I get up at 4, 5 o'clock. This morning I was up at 4 to edit tonight's video. Tomorrow morning I'll be
and you're here with me at like 7:30 in the evening.
And then tonight I'll probably go to bed about midnight. I'll be up at 4. I've got to move hotel tomorrow because I need to film 2 videos tomorrow, but I need to edit tomorrow's video, so I need to get up in the morning, upload it. And also the issue you've got when you land, it's a nightmare. You've got to get to the hotel. If the hotel's got terrible Wi-Fi,
that's a problem.
It's a problem, and it's got to be fast upload.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm uploading large videos. It's stressful. Then I go through all the liking, hearting, reading the comments, and people.
I remember I did an outtakes, and I just did a video of you. All he's doing is liking and hearting.
Liking and hearting all the comments.
Like heart. And do you not ever consider so we've talked about this before, the kind of Joe Rogan thing where he's like, he posts and goes. So it's like, do you not ever think like at some stage you've got to a point where you're, without like coming across that, oh, you're the big man, you've achieved all this, but you are getting to a point where the comments are quite a lot of comments on your YouTube that you need to step back and just say, well, I can't like and heart all these comments, and I can't reply to them all, and I can't read them all. And I know that one of the things you would always say is, I read all your comments, and you do read all the comments, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing, and we'll come to that in a minute. But the thing is, like, does that not consume so much of your time?
Yeah, it consumes a lot of your time. And the first thing you do when you get up in the morning, it becomes like a, not sure if I can say this on YouTube, it comes in, I won't use the word DRU, and then it's an addiction.
Yeah, you can say addiction.
Yeah, you can say that. So you wake up in the morning and it's like, you've got to check your algorithms. You've got to check how much money you've made on that last video.
Yeah.
And then it gets to 10 o'clock at night. And I know at 10 o'clock at night, then I'll know how much I've made for that day. So you've got to look at that and then check that. And then you've got your 4 ticks and your downs and ups on the front of the page where has your subscribers gone down? Has your views gone down? Has your money gone down? And YouTube know that they put that on the page there, because then you've got to get it green again. So you think, I've got to get them. I've got to work harder. And each month that you work harder, the algorithm, it changes. So they give you a target. You hit the target, then it's put the bar there. It doesn't go back down again. You've got to reach that bar. YouTube really are... They're
a very clever machine. They technically, without being an employee, you're an employee that's basically working for them. And the minute you stop working for them, no longer are you going to get the income that you generate from what you're doing.
Yeah.
And like on the side note of that, like, so look, I remember when I met you first, and we started doing the videos together, and I had the same shocked look that you had when I seen your first video, when you stuck the camera in my face and said, tell me about the boat trip, and I've got a mask on my face and I'm like, oh, the boat trip is and I was very, very nervous and I didn't know what to say, and I was like just trying to think, don't say anything stupid, right? And I've watched you, and what always amazed me with you was when we'd go out and people would recognize you were never like rude to anyone. You always take the time out to say hello to someone. I think, you know, and I got slagged off a while ago about this when I said it in a video and a comment, and I shouldn't have read the comment. I wish I'd never read it. That, you know, we're obviously putting ourselves out here on YouTube, so people are going to watch it. They're going to see my face, your face, and they're going to, you know, I could choose not to do this. So it's my choice to do this. So why am I doing it? Okay, I possibly get a bit of attention from doing the videos. I enjoy doing them. But I struggled, and you know that because I used to ring you about it. Like, I struggled a lot when people would come up to me. I was always like you, very polite, and I'm always polite, but sometimes I really struggled with it. I don't like constant... I like enjoying this, but then sometimes the attention on the street. How do you find that sometimes? You find that like that makes you become very egotistical, or like feel better than everyone else, or that you're a level of importance? But from knowing you, I don't think that at all, because I know what you're like. Or do you feel like sometimes it's just too much, all these people knowing you? Like when you get on a plane, when you're like, for example, in a restaurant we were today, someone came over to the table, they knew exactly who you were. They were absolutely gentlemen, came over and very, very pleasant. How do you find that?
I'm always polite with them because there was a scene years ago, or there was something that happened with Winston Churchill, who was the Prime Minister of the UK. He was out with no, it wasn't Winston Churchill. I thought
it was another porn star.
No, it was Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah,
and he was sat at a table out for dinner.
Yeah,
with his wife.
Yeah,
and a guy came over for an autograph.
Yeah,
and his wife said, "Oh, this is not acceptable." And he said to his wife, "My dear, they are paying for your meal," and he signed the thing. So I always think, they are the viewers, and without them, my channel's nothing.
It's a fair point.
So I've always got time for them.
Yeah,
and I'm lucky enough that the viewers that I have are really nice people.
They are. I mean,
really nice
anyone
people.
that's watched your channel and come in and talk to me has always been really sound. Yeah. And most of the viewers that watch my channel have come from your channel, and they're always really, really pleasant. I mean, obviously we get the odd trolls and that.
The trolls are your biggest fans. You do realise that, don't you?
Why?
Because they're the ones that comment. They're as soon as you've posted a video, they're the ones you can guarantee that are the first there to comment. And I now have started doing. You've probably seen.
I've seen that you're reading out the trolls.
I'm reading out the comments, yeah. And I get less now because they make you money. They're now giving me content to read. Yeah. But we're veering off. We're veering off here. As ego, I have zero ego now, and I can tell you why. I've told you this before.
We've talked about it before, yeah.
But I had a graphic design company. First of all, I had a partnership.
Yeah.
I was in partnership with one of my best mates and his dad, and we run a graphics company together. And I was working for the Derby Telegraph at the time, and I wanted to get out. My mum had bought me a computer. Tell me if I'm veering off here.
No. This is what I want. I want to have a conversation with you, bro. I want to talk about all the stuff, like,
Well, my mum bought me a computer. Bless her. Loved my mum. And without my mum and dad, I wouldn't have been doing any of this.
I remember when you lost your mum. It was, that was a really tough time. We were going through similar situations at the time. My mum was very unwell, and your mum passed, and mine not long after that, But we veer off, and we don't want to get too emotional.
Don't want to get too emotional because, with my mum and dad, But my mum bought me this computer. I was working for the newspaper, and she said to me, because I was doing bits of work on the side for graphic design and print, and I was going around Chinese restaurants and saying, "Can I redo your menu?" I did visuals. I actually did them all. Went to the Chinese restaurants, went there, and I was like, "I want my own business." And I was making more money out of working for myself than working for the newspaper. But I didn't dare do it because I just got my first child with Sharon, my ex-wife, Paige, and I thought I daren't do it. And I spoke to my business partner. It wasn't at the time, Nick. And he says, "Come and have a word with my dad." Because my mum says, "I'll buy the computer, but don't, be safe. Don't leave your job. Just do it on the side." Well, his dad said, "Tell you what, I'll pay your wages for a year, even if you don't make one penny." Yeah. And it all just went from there. This is quite interesting. So stay with us, viewers, right? This is interesting. So I was working for the Derby Telegraph. Yeah. And at the time, the Derby Telegraph were buying the Nottingham Post for millions. Okay. And I was known as the best graphic designer around at the time. I'm sure there's kids that can run rings around me now.
It shows in what you do in your visuals on your videos, and your thumbnails are always like, they really stand out.
They're very 80s, but
but they stand out.
But they do stand out. But at the time I left, and Nick's dad said, "Well, I could pay you wages free." I love his dad, by the way. We parted ways, but his dad was great and still around. And so as I left, the director of the Nottingham Post, who was the director at the Derby Telegraph. Yeah. Now this is going back years, right? He said, "We want you to we want you to be studio manager for the Nottingham Post." Right. And I said, "Well, I've set up my own business."
What's studio manager? Studio manager would basically manage all the art that goes out on the paper. Yeah.
And they just spent millions on and bearing in mind at the time I was getting paid 12 grand, right? 12 grand. Which was...
When was that?
92.
Oh, can you check what the equivalent of £12,000 would be now from 1992, what it would be the equivalent in wages here. I'd be interested to know.
So
thanks, Carl.
Cheers. Got a producer. So I was getting paid the same to work for this graphics company. But then the director of the Nottingham Post came to me and said, I don't care, we want you.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm already working. They said, right, well, we'll pay you £150,000.
What?
To come and be studio manager.
Oh, just like not a year, but like 150,000.
No, a year.
A year?
150
From
grand
12,
a year.
so you're literally 10x in your...
And I said, because I am loyal, I said to...
How much, Carl? Yeah, let's hear what it is. So based on that, basically your new offer would have been about 300 grand a year, no? Roughly.
Well, yeah. And
on today's purchasing value.
Yeah, and I said, because I am loyal.
Small money, yeah?
I said, I am loyal. And I said, no, I'm going to carry on. And my business partner says, yeah, you learn a lot more if you carry on working for yourself. So I ended up, I was making so much money. We did it freelance because they said then, well, I tell you what, we'll pay your company a retainer for you to retain you as the studio manager. So immediately I was working for my own company, but for the Nottingham Post with two partners. And I was making so much money, it was ridiculous because I was then invoicing. What
age were you then?
Crikey, what was I, 20-something year old, I think I was.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I picked up a cheque 1 week for, at that time, I think I picked a cheque up for 1 week for about £50,000 because I was invoicing them as a retainer, but I was also invoicing them for print. I was broking print for them, but I was still paying £12,000 a year. But I'd got 20% of the business, and but I agreed to it. I look back and I remember, hats off to my business partner, and he said that's how it goes. And then
so did you George Best the money?
Well, I didn't really get any of the money. I got cars and stuff, and then
what was the just out of interest? What was the first kind of car you bought that you kind of went, this is like, I got some serious coin coming in, I'm buying this car? Like,
I bought a BMW. This is when I went on myself. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll digress. So basically, I went away from the partnership. I did that for a while, and I was working for the Post, and I thought, you know what, I want to do this myself. So I ended up saying I'm leaving my partnership, and I set up, because it was on about ego. So this is where we're going with the ego. Okay. Right. So even though I've had a drink, I know where we're going. Ego. So
get some more of that.
So I guess little devil, you
little devil, we get you right hammered. Get all the stories out,
So I ended up then.
Less water, more alcohol.
Less water. I ended up then going on my own, and I set up a company called Digitize, and I was doing exactly the same thing, but then I was making the money for myself.
Yeah,
and that is where it all started to go wrong. Right? It sounds right.
Yeah, because the money's coming in. But what age were you at that stage when it really kind of blew up?
24, 25.
It's young, isn't it, for that sort of money? Footballer sort of money, like.
I was earning ridiculous amounts of money at the time, and it really went to my head. This is why I'm not like this now. Right? This is where we're going. I bought a BMW 330 Ci Sport Cabriolet from BMW Park Lane in London, and I went down. I didn't even see it. I bought it cash, and I remember going along with cash for it.
You wouldn't do that now?
I wouldn't do that now.
No, the government want a piece of that.
It was nuts. It was crazy, but I was not nice to my wife.
Okay.
But I sound getting a bit emotional now because I
feel a kind of level of
so sorry for what I did.
Yeah.
Ego will eat you up.
Yeah.
If you don't if you don't calm it down. It was like letting a good friend of mine, David Joyce, at the time. He said it's like letting the genie out of the bottle. He didn't even speak to me for years because I was such an idiot. I was hiring private jets and doing all sorts of stuff. I was wasting money, and it was ridiculous. So the ego just went, and I was good at my job, and I was working as hard as I am now.
Yeah.
But probably not as hard because I was partying a lot as well.
Yeah.
But it just went to your head.
But it must have been a lot to take in at that age, like to all of a sudden be earning such a substantial amount of money, and then just everything becomes way more readily available. You know, you can go out and spend as much as you want. You can, as you say, get private jets. You can, you know, you
can, but nothing's ever enough, and you're never happy.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever said this on camera. I have been diagnosed with bipolar.
Yeah.
So, and I should take medication, but I don't. It's not as bad as it was now, to be honest. Cause I think when you get older, you just mellow.
Yeah.
But it just all got out of hand, and I think now the business was great, and I ended up buying a place in America in Hoboken, which people know on the channel, and I was out there all the time. I got my visa and stuff, and I was, you know, meeting people out there and dating people, and I was just.
Did you feel lost?
Yeah, I did. I felt really lost at the time. I was. To be honest, if I went back to see him, and my dad passed away at the time, and he, to look back, it's just embarrassing. I think because it does take hold of you when it's the money, and then you think you start thinking you're better than anybody else because I've got money, I've got cars, I've got women, I've got houses here, I've got houses there, and I'd also got my daughters as well, Paige and Caitlin, who, you know, they were back in the UK, and I missed out on their growing up really. Yeah. So I have a great relationship with them now, and my ex-wife. You know, my ex-wife, if she was here, she'd say it was too young because I got my.
Do you think you've kind of made some sort of amends? There's a good feeling between you and the ex-wife now, and there's a kind of level of maturity and understanding of, you know, you were going through something that you maybe needed to go through to come to where you are now. Because I think when you go to those heights of, like, because, you know, we've talked about my background as well, as, you know, I was big into drugs and ego based that stuff as well, because, like, I always say ego's like a way of screening low self-esteem. Like, so when you're wrapped in ego, you think you're better than everyone else, but also you think you're worse than everyone else, and you have moments where you just feel you're like the worst person ever. You're failing on the inside, but all this external stuff is guising that, and you can make yourself be better than other people. And you was kind of going through a phase in your life that, do you feel now that it's made you who you are today? You had to go through that, and that your ex-wife sees that now and sees that while you had more money then or whatever, you were on this journey, but now you've kind of, it's made you who you are today, like, you know.
I think it has. You we've had this conversation before, and you go through life, and I think you put on. I'm not a religious person,
no,
but I believe you put on the earth and you learn things, and then maybe we're sent back again. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer of that. Like.
And you're beginning to learn things, and I have really learned, because now I'm with Sarah, and I've got two other children now. I've got James and Harriet. And
you send me pictures regularly, like you're an active. I can see the pride when you're around the kids and the love for them and the joy that you have with them. Like, it's really, really nice to see, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I maybe I don't know. I'm only guessing that part of you feels it's your chance to have a second chance at, like, doing stuff that you regret you didn't do so many years ago. Like, you know, with a maturer head.
I do spend more time with them than people actually think, because I film so many videos. A lot of people have clicked onto it now, because the videos that are out at the moment are in Benidorm, and I've been there for days, but I've been here for days, so that they're all ahead. So I'm filming ahead so I can go back and spend time with the family. But yeah, you learn an ego. It doesn't matter. You can tell people who start up a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I have 200 and nearly nearly 20,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
It's not millions.
It's an amazing feat on YouTube in particular to get to that level, and I know how hard you've worked to get there. Like, you know, and I know the effort that you put in. But yeah, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. It makes me. My mouth again, my lips are getting too loose. But you know, I've learned from that. I think anybody, it doesn't matter what you tell people. If new YouTubers who are up and come in, they'll unless they've been through it before. I've been through it. I've had the ego when I was back, you know, doing my graphic design and doing all that. I mean, crikey, I bought a Range Rover one night, and again for cash, and I took it back the next morning because I didn't like it, and it was just you start. I sounded like a complete. I mean, I just needed a slap, basically. You know, walking around, you know, do you know who I am, kind of thing, blah blah blah, because it goes to your head, and it did, because I think I'd gone from being growing up with my mum and dad spoiling me, you know, and buying me whatever I want, and being wrapped in cotton wool, and then going from there to I mean, I'll be honest, Sharon, my ex-wife, was the first person I had a relationship with, and that was at 22. I had a girlfriend before, but we didn't sleep together. And then after that, I just went mental. It was just nuts. And I think, and she says it's because I got married too young, to be honest, and I'd not lived, and I'd been shrouded by my parents, and then shrouded by my business partners, because he was like a dad to me as well. And then Sharon was like a mum to me, and now I've got Sarah, who, you know, she's Yorkshire, tells it how it is. I've got, you know, so
no messing with the Yorkshire lass like my mum, you know, it's the Yorkshire lass as well.
Yeah, she's not my mum, she's, you know, my partner, and that's it. So, but yeah, ego will eat into you. So it's great, because I mean, to be honest, you know, I wouldn't have started YouTube. I was at my apartment in the States, and I was watching Casey Neistat.
Yeah, he's the guy that you kind of aspire to, I think, the most. I
watched everything he did. I think he had great charisma.
Yeah,
his videography, because I've been doing videos longer than him. I was filming since I was 7 years old with my dad's cine camera.
I remember you put that video up, or you sent it to me. I can't remember. You put it on YouTube, or you sent it to me, of you doing impressions with your video camera. Am I right in saying that? And I don't know what impression were you doing?
Kenny Everett, I think, or something. I think it was. Yeah,
I don't even know who Kenny Everett is.
But I was making videos. I was making stop animation. I was getting blue tack doing that. I was filming things. I literally was obsessed with filming, more so than photography. My dad bought me cameras as well, but I always had an affinity to video, because I just didn't see the point in a photograph which is a still image, which shows you a moment in time, 1 millisecond of a moment in time, where you can have video that you can relive the entire moment and the entire experience. So that really interested me. And then I went into doing wedding videos from there. So, but then I saw Casey, and I was a graphic designer, web designer in the States, and then doing in the UK as well. And I saw Casey, and I thought I could do that. And the woman that I was with at the time said, "Well, you can just do it." And I said, "I can't, because I can't do that in front of the camera." And she says, "You can do it." So I gave it a go, and you find your way, because it was very, "Hi, I'm the MacMaster, I'm Lee, and I'm," you know, it's very, very wooden, and then you grow into it, and you find a way of and then this character came along, you know, today's my all this.
Today's vlog, my friend.
I don't know where all that came from, because
but it works, doesn't it?
It works, but you know, I think somebody actually saw me on a plane once, and they said, "Oh, we thought it was you. We didn't really realise, because you weren't smiling. You looked a bit miserable." And I thought, well, that's just my normal face. I don't go around going.
The funny thing is, like, it's literally that. Sometimes, like, I know, and like, sometimes we just be having a laugh, right, and the bantery back and forth, and we'd be having a crack on the street. Another time you'd be like not the best form. You'd be tired. You might have been up late. Oh, I'm wrecked. And he would literally go from that to full on MacMaster.
Yeah.
And like to some points where I get a shock. Because I'd be sitting there and all of a sudden, and today's vlog, and you'll be like, what is going on? Like, you know what I mean? And it is a big show as well, that side of it. And to go off on another tangent, I'm interested to know, right? Because I remember in the early days, like they did affect you a lot. We talked about a second ago, the trolls. Like, how do you deal with them now? Aside from reading them out, do any of them affect you? It used to affect me a lot at times when people who would troll the YouTube channel, especially when I was at my weakest moments around the time my mum passed and my dad passed, and I was very sensitive to certain things that would trigger me. Like,
if I'm entirely honest, it did originally, because I had to do it. I had to make the money, and now I think, well, if I just, sold some of my stuff, because I've got my. I've said this on the video. I've got my pension coming in, and I've got a.
Not that old,
It's my private pensions from a partnership.
Oh, nice one.
So I got them coming. So that was great. So I've got a house that that we're renovating. I've got to finish that off, and then I'm looking at a place in the States now as well. And then once they're done, because I know I've got the finances in place. So once they're done, then I only really need to I don't need to daily vlog, so I can always think, well, I can sell one of them and just relax. So it doesn't bother me as much, because I think, well, I don't have to do it, and it's a nicer place to be in. And when you don't have to do something,
you're going to enjoy it more, aren't you?
You can enjoy it more, and this is what, again, Dennis told me, who was my business partner.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got the amount of money that I got from the Nottingham Post if it wasn't for the fact that I thought, well, I don't care, because I'm being paid by Dennis anyway, so whether I get paid, I'm not bothered whether I get the job. So I'd go into places and I'd say, I can do this for you, I can do this for you. And I went in not with, I need this job, I've got to pay the bills. So when you're in that position, then you actually enjoy it, and you think, well, if I don't get it, it doesn't matter. So,
whereas you've got, like when you need it and you've got the pressure of, I need to get a video out every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just looking for content.
Yeah.
As opposed to thinking, this is what I want to video this.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
And that's why I've come back out here.
Yeah. Because, and that's the thing. I'm never doing, Tenerife again. I was like, Lee's coming back. And I tell you why, because I don't see the point. You know what I mean? You should do whatever you want anywhere. And this kind of brings me, like, there is that journey along the way. I'm eternally grateful for the kind of help that you've given me along the way. The fact that you push people over to a channel that I created, which is this video is going to be on, to the fact that you would always be, as a friend, or not even before we became friends, you'd say, oh, I can go and promote that, or I'll go and do that. And you never asked for anything. Like, you'd always just do it out of decency. But along the way, like, there's been different moments where people have kind of seen that as, maybe they haven't seen that, maybe they have, but there's been those moments where people have floated in and out of your life. Like, we've been friends, since we kind of met on that boat trip, and, threw you off a mountain and put you on a scooter, threw you on the back of a jet ski, tried to kill you on numerous occasions, didn't work, you bounced back.
But it works both ways that way, because you made the channel more interesting.
Yeah.
It helped your business.
It was good fun as well.
And it was good fun. Oh, for me, we're going off on a tangent. For me, the 125s. Not the second time we did it.
No, the first time.
The first time when it was just me and you.
Yeah, it was just good crack, man. Up in the mountain, and just trying to think of ways, like that scene where we said, right, we'll pretend I left you on the mountain, and I drive off.
Yeah.
And it was like just all of it was just like we were just experimenting with the movies and putting them out there. And it was a time for me where I didn't know where the business was going, because for me it was like I'd maxed out all my credit cards. I was, trying my best to have a business that worked. Lockdown was on and off, and it was like people were let in, they weren't allowed in, and all this. And I was just in the back of my head, like, I've got bills to pay. I don't know what's going on. But what really brought joy to my heart was like us going out and just having a laugh. And you kind of forgot about all that sort of stuff. You were just like, let's just do this and have a laugh and create a video and see where it goes. And it was, for me, it was a great form of escape from the kind of where, you know, am I staying on this island or where is everything going to go from here? And it was just so much fun for me. Like, I really enjoyed it. And I'm smiling now because I think of the crack, and I feel like I feel like I want to do more of it again. Like, and we were talking about it on the last time we spoke, and I was saying, I want to do a trip across Europe with you. And, you know, speaking with Colin as well, we were talking about like doing vlogs, and, you know, we're talking about possibly doing, an idea of going into a city, a random city, and doing vlogs in there, me and him, and we concepts I'll talk to you about afterwards. And but it's that fun, that adventure. It's not just the video. It's not like I want to make a video. It's like with that video comes the adventure of the unknown. What is going to happen next? And that's why, like, and just to laugh, man, it builds a friendship. It built that trip, the 125 trip, built a friendship between me and you that, like, it started and it was slowly becoming a friendship. But then when we went and did that 125 trip, it was just bouncing off each other, having a laugh. And it wasn't, the cameras were part of it, but they were, you know, they made it the fun along with it being making it a video, you know what I mean? Whereas it wasn't, and that's what kind of, for me, I fell out of love with doing videos anymore. Like, it was like, I'm doing this because people expect me to put a video out.
Yeah.
And that's not why I want to do videos. And then I had to rethink what I was doing. I was like, well, how do I do this? I don't want to, like, do this to kind of say, oh, I'm doing this to get views, or I'm doing it to go. I enjoy doing the videos, but I want to do it the way I want to do it. I want to do it because I want to show videos that are, you know, what I enjoy doing. I mean, for me, that was great crack. You know, the thought of, you know, two of us grabbing the AV car and going across Europe excites me, because it's lad stuff. It's having a laugh. Not just lad stuff, but it's like lads having a laugh,
it's the
going across.
Camaraderie.
You know, I mean, yeah, it's exactly. I've done it without cameras. The road trip on motorbikes, I went from Ireland to Porto on motorbikes. I've done from Ireland to Barcelona. I did from Ireland to here in a car. I know that, you know, myself and Colin have talked about it in the past, where it's been like, he's talked about trips across Europe with his mates in a camper van and stuff like that. And it's just that whole adventure. It makes it fun, like.
That it is, and
Yeah.
that time, that point of my life was, it was some of the best times of my life.
Yeah.
It was great. It was fantastic. The 125 trip was amazing. The Mustang that we did, where you were eating fish eyes, and then
Oh man, I had to go to I remember that we're sitting in the Mustang and I'm trying to get some sleep, and I'm literally, my stomach is gone. Like, I don't know why I did have, because I actually think I'm still suffering to this day because of the food that I ate while we were doing YouTube videos. Satan's ashes. What was that other thing that we ate in the Indian?
The fall.
The fall, and I ate the fall, and like, ye two were like just eating little bits, and I just said, I'm going to be the man, you know, and ego driven probably, yeah. I'm going to eat it all. I ate the whole thing, and I was in bits for the next day. Satan's ashes, ate it all, suffered for 2 days. Fish eyes. I remember eating all those fish eyes in front of the camera, and then 2 o'clock in the morning in a Mustang sitting backwards, yeah, and and I can't sleep because the Mustang seat won't. So if you've been in a Mustang basically, the seat don't go back.
Not the EV version.
Not
of
the
Mustang.
one we had. Well, no, the one we had, the seat doesn't go back.
No.
It goes back a certain bit.
Proper Mustang.
So I thought we could put the seats back and go to sleep, you know, a romantic evening with the stars above us. And but I put the seat back, didn't go back. And I'm sitting there and the fish eyes are starting to churn in my stomach. And I says, right, I'm going to the bathroom, right? So I said, I got to go to the bathroom. Went into this bathroom, got through this cage thing, went in and went to sit down to go to the we won't get too descriptive, but this thing, I swear to God, I don't know if it was a rat or what it was, that size came running out, and I literally hopping me life, and I legged it back to the Mustang, and I was like, there's so massive in there. I was literally shitting. I said, no way I'm going back out there to the toilet. And I literally had to hold myself until the next morning. And you speaking Spanish to your man, asked him when the toilet's open. It's going to be open in 10 minutes. And I said, no. He said 10 o'clock. It's 7 a.m. Yeah, do you remember that? He said 10 minutes. I said, no. He said 10 o'clock it's opening. Like, we ended up going into town. But like, yeah, but that whole adventure, the whole buzz. It was a lovely morning actually, because I went in for a swim. And you had the drone up in
the drone.
What was
in the
La
north,
Teresita beach
Yeah.
up in Santa Cruz, beautiful little beach. And yeah, there was lots of kind of little adventures like that. We ended up staying in Martin and Wendy's house, you know, and that's the whole journey. That was an adventure. It was so much fun, like. And then like, so your channel from that point on, like, has kind of gone like, I kind of stopped really getting that much interest in doing YouTube a lot, particularly around both my parents dying, mum and dad died, really kind of put me off. I don't know, I just felt disconnected in myself, and I just felt that I didn't want to do it. And even now, like, Colin knows, like, I've had this kit here for some while, and I've been putting it off, and it's not so much putting it, it's like this anxiety around doing it, right? It's the anxiety about putting myself back out there in front of the public. It's the anxiety about the pressure of a camera being there or whatever it is. But there's also the part that I really want to do it as well. Like, so it's like holding back. So your subscribers went up, mine went down. So mine started going the other way because I stopped putting videos up and I getting punished by YouTube and people unsubscribing. But I want to find a way of doing this the way I feel comfortable and enjoying it. But what I wanted to talk to you about was like, and what interests me is like, you went from like fish and chips, breakfast and all that, and all of a sudden you bought a Porsche Taycan, which was
electric car. A washing machine.
You know, a washing machine. Like, it doesn't sound like an AMG, but hey, you know, beautiful car. And all of a sudden you became the guy that slags EVs. How did it go to there, man?
I have no idea, but I can tell you now.
You're like the electric car devil. Like, you're hated by people who what are they called? Evangelicals? Or what are they called?
Evangelists.
Evangelists.
I am the most, I would say, popular anti-EV YouTuber out there who has an EV. And I have had a negative effect on the sales of Porsche Taycan.
Yeah. I like the way you say that with a little bit of pride.
No. Sorry, Porsche. don't
I'll give you his address afterwards. Yeah.
I've always, do you know, it went. I don't know where it all came from. I was doing the videos. I just thought, this is all about control. It's not right. It doesn't sit right. You have electric cars. Nobody's told me how I can charge it. Nobody's told me anything about it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love the way the car drives.
Yeah.
I've said this all along. I've been open about it. I like the torque on it. I like how it drives. It doesn't have any soul or any passion or anything. And I feel that we're being pushed into something that doesn't suit everybody, so I put it out there on YouTube. Now, I also rang up a certain Porsche dealer and I said, can I borrow the new generation Taycan?
Yeah.
And he said, I won't tell you exactly what he said to me. He went, you're having a laugh.
Yeah.
He said, Porsche UK, you're all over the intranet. He said, we can't even
what do you mean by the internet? Internal.
Yeah.
What can I ask? He can't tell you. You can't say what they're saying.
They couldn't sell me a car. There wasn't.
So basically, Porsche have said that they won't sell you any car.
No,
not even.
They wouldn't sell me a car because I was having such a negative impact on it. But
so are you currently blacklisted by Porsche?
I'm okay with them because I've always said I feel sorry for the motor manufacturers.
Yeah.
Because they're being bullied by the governments into having to produce electric cars.
Yeah.
I've gone from being the MacMaster eating fish and chips now to actually I feel quite strongly about this.
Yeah.
These legacy motor dealers who make proper cars, not washing machines and appliances, Porsche make proper cars with engines.
They always have done.
Yeah, they always have done.
Yeah.
And now they're being told
the 911s, what an iconic car.
Like. You think of the iconic sport car, is the 911.
I mean, it's on my list to buy.
Yeah, it's the iconic.
Not the electric.
Not the electric Taycan.
No.
But they're now being told that they have to produce electric cars by the government. So at what point we're going all serious now, at what point did we allow the governments to tell companies and corporations on what they can build? And it's wrong. So I thought, I'm not having a go. See, people think I'm having a go at Porsche.
Yeah.
And I truly believe Porsche should understand this. I'm not having a go at Porsche.
Yeah.
I'm not having a go at any EV manufacturer. I'm having a go at the governments and the powers that be, because they're the people that are telling the motor dealers, if you don't sell this, you're going to get punished. There will be no motor manufacturing industry if we allow the governments to do this.
Well, one of the problems that, you know, we spoke about this. We were out for dinner on Saturday night, and there's a friend of mine. He's my neighbour actually, and he works in the power industry, and they're not ready particularly not the UK.
Yeah.
And Spain is not ready. If every person decided tomorrow that we're going to have electric cars,
yeah,
the grid wouldn't be able to handle it. Like,
no.
And they don't have a solution yet for that. I mean, he spoke about the amount of power, even for the upgrade that we would have to have, myself and Sahar, to have electric chargers. And we're plug-in hybrids, ours running on petrol as well. And I found that a nightmare as well, just even trying to figure out how I charge my car. Yeah. My community wouldn't let me put the charger in. I was offered a free charger from Land Rover to put in to charge the Defender. And they basically said, no, we can't have it in here. It's a fear of fire, right? That's another thing you talked about on it. And I guess, from what I got on, I'm going to ask Colin if he can fact check this, but someone told me yesterday, it was the day before, that Porsche are not going to be making electric cars going forward. Is that true? It's fake news, is it? But Colin's going to check it now and see.
There's a lot of misinformation out there, and a lot of people say I give them misinformation, but you know, they're still making the Taycan. They're still making the Porsche Boxster EV. It's still going ahead. There's a lot of fake news out there about it. But what we need to do is stop the governments. And I don't want to get political, but we need to stop the governments. You've got Trump who's now come in, right?
Yeah.
And he said, right, mandate's gone. We're drill for oil. Get drilling again, right? If you want electric cars, have them, but we're drilling for oil. Because they're saying we're running out of oil. I personally don't think we are. I think it's all...
I don't want to answer that question because I'm not sure, but I have my own opinions on the world, and I do think that at some stage humans won't exist on this planet anyways. Irrelevant to what we do and don't do with the planet, we're hurtling through space and in a spiral. Not even asteroid, like anything can happen. We can move further or closer to the sun. You know, you just don't know what's going to happen. It's not as simple as like, and I listened to this scientist talk recently. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He spoke about the fact that on a pessimistic view, 100% there is the chance that there is a planet out there in the universe the same as our planet, and there's people like us living on it, humans, similar to humans. The most positive, like 100% chance is a positive option is that they're in our galaxy, okay? To think that we're that important on this planet that we, you know, yes, we have to try and save the planet, but the planet will evolve irrelevant to we're on it or not. And I'm not saying I want humans to be disappeared off the planet. I'm just saying that I just think we're not that important that we can really, you know, that we're going to be able to hold on to this planet forever and ever and ever and ever. There is no infinite. No. We pass at some stage, and I'm a strong believer, as you know, of reincarnation. And at some stage, we come back over and over again to learn. And I do believe that we don't just come back on this planet, we come back on other planets. People are going to think I'm mad listening to this, but this is the way I believe. I think that, well, if you think about it, the universe is like insane. There's more stars in the sky than there is grains of sand in our oceans. So how we can think that there's not other places that are habitable and that the universe hasn't got infinite resources is insane. Like, I don't think it matters if we drive a petrol car, to be honest with you. I think that what we need to do is we need to evolve the technology to reduce the emissions, or we need to look at other powers. Now, I was always a believer of hydrogen, but talking to my friend next door, he was saying it's not there yet. It's too far away.
It's not there. You know, the ideal thing is...
Or nuclear. But there's all that negative about nuclear, but nuclear has evolved from back in like Sellafield now. But
cars now, petrol cars are more environmentally friendly than they were years ago. Yeah. And if you remember, you probably won't remember. You won't remember this but our Prime Minister in England at the time, Gordon Brown, I think it was. Oh, biodiesel, it's better for the environment. And then a few years down the line, we're told it's the worst for the environment.
Yeah.
So I now think, well, anything the government says, it's just a lie. I just think the opposite. They really need to be shut down, the governments do, because they're destroying the motor industry.
I wouldn't say this. I would say not shut down. I think there needs to be more openness with the government.
Oh, I think
I think that, like, the information that the government holds should be open source. That so that any point and any time that me or you or anyone in the country that lives in that country and pays taxes in that country can have access openly to the information, like literally like an open blockchain that allows, if I want to find out about, you know, what my government's doing in my country and how they're doing it and what they're doing in their jobs and are they performing well, that I can go and check that. If you're a taxpayer, you're paying their wages, so you should be able to see what they're doing and openly see that. I think one of the problems, from my understanding, is in every country you've got the people that you elect, or you have a choice to elect. I'm not saying you have a choice between A, B, or C.
Do you know what? There's a choice of nobody, because we in England.
But the problem is, even if they get in, there's the official government workers that are rock stead and trying to get some of them to change. I think is a mission. It's seriously a mission. It's like what they refer to in America as the deep state.
Yeah.
You know
I'm going to be a little bit controversial here.
Uh-oh.
It doesn't matter who you get in, because they're just puppets up here that's being controlled by bigger powers, and that's why. Sorry to interrupt. That's why. And if I'm going too deep, that's why. And I'm not a Trumper. Before people go, "Oh, you're a Trumper," I'm not conservative. People say to me, "You're a Tory." No, I'm not. I'm not any. I just think they're all prats, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they really just need. You got Trump, who's come in, who said, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this and do this," right? And he's doing it. And I know I'm not saying everything he's doing is right, but before you'd got some guy who, with respect to him, it was cruel, really. I mean, he was just doddering around, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I mean,
going the wrong way up all sorts of stuff.
I think that there's a bigger power, a higher power that's controlling.
Well, here's the
stuff.
question, right? So you talk about Trump, and like the thing about Trump when he came in, and I was never like Trump. I never liked him at all, right? In the early days. I do think that he has genuine, whether it's right or wrong, he's genuinely interested in changing the country, right? And he's genuinely interested in doing the better for what he believes is his country. He has no reason to be up there. He's plenty of money. He's not a career politician. And some of the things that he's doing, I would agree, maybe not agree with. I'm not 100% sure about drilling for oil. I'm not 100% sure. But what I would say is he was voted in based on the policies and the things that he promised. He promised a tighter border. He promised getting rid of illegal immigrants that were particularly cartels and stuff like that. He promised a lot of things. And the American people in a majority voted for him. He won that election in a landslide.
I knew he was going to do.
And he was voted from every walk of life based on what he promised. And what I see right now is him fulfilling those promises. He is, word for word, within his first few months, he's literally writing orders for all the things that he had promised as being voted in. So he is serving his country, whether or not people agree with it or not. He is following what he was voted in to do. And from what I see, someone can correct me, and I'm happy to bring anyone who wants to come onto this podcast and chat with me and talk to me about why they believe Donald Trump is a bad man or an evil man or a racist or all these things he gets called. I don't think he's a racist. I think he said some stupid stuff. I know I've said some stupid stuff. I know you've said some stupid stuff. I think it's very easy to go on what we see in small snippets, but I'm really interested to hear someone else's opinion, because I know there's people out there who don't like Trump. I do see him as someone that can actually affect the course of the government, and I think he's already doing that. He's fact checking what governments are doing. He's checking where the money's going. He's doing a lot of things, and I think whether that's right, left, middle, progressive, whatever you want to call it, liberal, if it's going to make the government better and put more money in the people that pay the wages of these people's pockets, then I don't care what background you're from. If your heart is in the right place, you want to change it. And I'm not saying Trump's is, But I do see him starting to kind of do stuff that he promised to do, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say again, because people go, "Oh, you voted for Brexit." I didn't. I was in America. I didn't vote for Brexit. I didn't even vote this time because I just thought, well, I mean, Keir Starmer. I mean, he's just a joke, isn't he? I mean,
I don't know enough about him, but I do, from what I hear, he's like any man that, and correct me if what I'm wrong, Carl, do you mind checking exactly what he said? So he said when he was confronted with this, I can't remember what the exact policy or whatever he was saying. If you're not happy here,
leave.
Leave.
Know where the door
I
is.
can't remember what it was to do with, what policy it was to do with. But what did he say exactly, Colin? Like he said something about, like he said about if you're not happy in the country, leave. Like you're our leader, like.
Yeah.
You know, why are you telling people who live there to leave, that have the right to voice? Like, and I believe in free speech, and that means whether you like this free speech or you dislike free speech, whether you like what someone's saying or not saying, they should have the right to talk about it. Like, did you find it, Carl? Right. What were the exact words he said, like? Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of businesses are.
That's kind of straightforward, no?
The guys are.
Okay, so okay, so it was kind of snipped a bit and a bit misleading in the sense that it wasn't directed at the people.
I feel quite strongly because, first of all,
okay,
yeah. I mean, I ultimately, I'm going to become an American citizen eventually. Right? I've said this to you.
Does that make you a traitor? No, I'm only joking.
No, I've got family, very close family there, and I'm going to.
I know you love America, like.
I love America. Yeah, it's great. I love it, and I go back to Hoboken, and when I go back to Hoboken, it's my home. I was there 12 years. I love it.
Do you think that Americans celebrate success more than
Yeah.
European and Irish people do?
It's funny you should say this,
and,
right?
and UK people, because
this is where the difference is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
Go on.
going back to YouTube,
yeah,
you'll get a lot of people. I'm not saying all of them are like this, but the English mainly. I'm not going to include the Scottish, but the English are, or the Welsh. The English are very. If you are successful, they want to bring you down, right? They want. Oh, look at him, he's doing it. Whereas Americans, they'll go, yeah, woo, go on, go for it, yeah. So they're more pat on the back. So I'm going to say 99.9% of those trolls on my channel are English.
yeah.
I'll say British because but they are British. They're the ones the trolls that want to bring you down. It will be very, very few Americans that want to bring you down. They'll be like, yeah, good on you, yeah, go woo.
You look at the football. So even when England or go to in the football, the papers love ripping apart the English team, don't they?
Yeah, but it's that football mentality, isn't it? It's like ooh. And it's just I think England. I'm lying, actually. I think England's a terrible place. I'm going to be honest.
You better not go back there, man.
It's not what it. It's not what it was. I used to love.
What was it? So when you say what it was,
right? I used to love.
What was England?
Right. When I was going through my ego phase, I used to love London. Right.
Yeah.
It was a great place. It was vibrant. Don't get me wrong, there were dangerous places, but now you didn't walk down the street and have people whizzing by on a Sur-on bike and nicking your phone. And there were phones back then.
Yeah. Just big ones that were hard to lift.
Bigger ones, yeah. Nokias.
You need to rob the phone and the suitcase that was attached to it.
I won't say the word, but crime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause you can't say that, but
so knife crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can say that here.
Yeah. I mean,
but obviously not. I don't even say the other.
The knife crime is just out of hand. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I feel safer walking around. I spend a lot of time in America, to be fair.
Do you feel safe walking around?
100%.
Is there parts of America, obviously, that's different? Or do you think it's safer? It feels safer if you were to take on a percentage of like America as a whole, like would you say like it's way more safer?
Well, Hoboken, it's safe unless you go into the back of the right back, and then you get into the
rougher areas,
and then it starts getting a bit dodgy.
But like, say the centre, like, so if we comparison, like, say centre of New York versus the centre of London,
100% you say for New York. I will say this though, over the last few years post-COVID, New York has become a worse place,
right,
since COVID, and I do blame the governments for this, and I blame the mayors over there, because when I first got there, there were police on every corner, and it's police presence.
But they're on about defunding the police, weren't they?
Yeah, it's police presence. There was police on every corner, and with weapons. So they were on every corner. You felt safe. It was a zero tolerance, right? We won't go into the political thing with when the mayor was in Giuliani. There was a zero tolerance. If there was graffiti on a train, clean it up.
Yeah.
If there was a lad caught, stealing, he gets jailed for it. It was a zero tolerance policy, and we went through the point there in New York where it was when I was living there.
Yeah.
I could walk. I've walked through New York at 3 a.m. Drunk out my mind back in the days. And
could you do that now?
Less so.
Yeah.
Less so. But saying that, and again, I'm not a Trumper before anybody starts, because I don't know the guy, you don't
know Trump?
No, I don't know. But, since he came in, the day he came in, my mate rung me and he went, "You've never seen anything like this." He says, "In New York." I said, "Wow, what's going on?" He said, "There's ICE around everywhere," which is immigration enforcement, whatever it is. And there was immigrants running from the hotels with duvets under their arms. There was police, there was armed police, there was shoving them into vans and ship them out. And I thought to myself, hang on a minute. And again, I'm not a Trumper. They'll say, yeah, you are, but I'm not. Because I don't.
It's okay to be a Trumper if you want to be. Like, what's wrong with that?
I'm not.
Why be judged for that?
I'm not.
I don't understand why people would judge if you want to be into Trump.
But it's not.
I don't judge if you're into Starmer. I don't care if you're into that person or you're into another. If you like Kamala Harris, that's your own business. You have a right to be able to talk about who you. I'm not into Trump myself, but I like the way he approached. I think that he's grown as a person.
I don't think he's the same Trump that we had in the last term.
And I don't think he would have been the same Trump if he'd been elected in for the second term straight after. I think the fact that he went through years of persecution, as in people chasing him to try and lock him up, and then kind of having to come back and get re-elected 4 years later, also getting shot at, all those things have kind of, does he really need the job? No, he doesn't really need the job. Does he have a passion for what he's doing? It comes across that way.
Yeah.
Am I 100% sure of that? I'm not 100% sure of that. But from what I see, he comes across as a guy that is passionate about his job. He's passionate about what he's doing. He's fulfilling the things that he was asked to do. And yeah, so, I mean, if it was my country and he's making it safer, he's increasing employment in the country, he's aiming to improve the conditions of legal Americans, then... I think it's a good thing. You shouldn't. The Constitution or the laws. I have laws in my country, in Ireland. They're in there for a reason. If people are breaking them, then there's consequences. Yeah. Otherwise, you just got a lawless state. What's the point? You can just do what you want. You have a business. You worked your ass off for that business. I'll go in and rob you, but there's no consequences for that.
Yeah.
And I've literally taken everything you've worked for.
There has to be a zero tolerance.
There has to be some consequences for your actions.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to the whole Trump thing. Only time will tell.
But back to the UK.
Yeah.
It is in a mess at the moment. It is in a serious mess. And I as I say, in my past, I've voted Labour, I've voted Conservative. I didn't vote for the Monster Raving Loony Party, but I should have done. But let's be honest. You'd got little Rishi, right? Rishi Sunak.
Yeah.
I mean, he was richer than the King of England. How can you have somebody who's on the, running the country with that? And then you got Starmer, who's just a prat, isn't he? I mean, he's not liked by anybody I know. And I just think you need a fresh start. and it's interesting. I just think you need an entire fresh start where, and I don't want to get into all this, but I want to
someone
say,
who isn't a career politician, possibly.
yeah,
Someone who
I'm going to say this, and
Yeah.
if you edit it out, you want to edit it out.
Say it.
I went round Nottingham the other
Yeah.
week with Ange.
Yeah.
Right, there was so many homeless people on the
Yeah.
streets. One of them spoke to the guy. He
Yeah.
didn't want to be on camera. He was in the army.
Yeah.
He's now living on the street.
That's just
Right?
wrong. Like.
Right, he's living on the street.
He served his country. Like.
He served his country, yet we're housing people that come over on a boat
Yeah.
with taxpayer, and I've just paid my tax bill, which is
Yeah.
really hurt, and yet that goes to paying for people to go in. Now, I'm not saying anything about the people that come over. I know
Yeah. Because some of them have probably gone through a lot of suffering
gone through a lot of suffering, but
to escape
but
wherever they are.
do it the right way if you want to come over. Do it the right way. We can't house them, and the government are doing that and buying stuff from. And I just think it's wrong. Look, my mum used to say it: look after your own first.
Yeah.
Look after your own first, and we're not. We're not looking after.
Or
our
think of some sort of better way of integrating people into society that are coming here illegally. Find a way of vetting them, figuring out who they are. You can't just let people. It's like, are you going to open your doors to your house and just let someone in and say, "Come and stay with me"? I'm not sure what your background is. You can stay next door to the room of my kids, no problem at all. Yeah, and you don't know where they're from, you don't know their background, and also if you're paying for all that, it's a really hard. It's not a simple solution, and it's hard to know what to do. Because at the end of the day, a lot of Western countries have gone into those countries and caused a lot of damage and created some of the problems. So it's hard to know. I don't know the answers to that. But
I don't even feel safe
yeah,
letting my kids go to school now because of knife crime schools. And we've got to a point, I mean, how old are you?
I am 45.
Right. Go back to your school days.
Yeah.
Right. If you had did you have a fight at school?
Yeah.
Right. If somebody went back at
I just want to let you know I won.
Right, you probably won. But if somebody said, tell you what, man, stab him.
Yeah.
You'd have gone,
No.
Are you mental?
Yeah.
Where's that come in?
I don't know where it's coming. I think the other thing is when you bring someone into a country or a place, there has to be a level of integration. Ireland is predominantly a Catholic country, and I'm not saying that people come in there have to be Catholics, or we're a typical type of nation. We have a culture, we have a background, with all that sort of stuff. If you come into that country, then you need to respect that culture. You need to not come in there and demand that your culture needs to be the one that's recognised, or that, if you're in someone else's country, respect their culture. I live in Spain. This is Spain where I live. I understand that. I'm not coming here to say that, you need to change your culture to meet mine. Now, obviously, there's not as big a difference between an Irish culture and a Spanish culture, but there is differences, I can't come here and expect them to change for me. I respect their culture. I take part of it, and I'm here as a guest in the country, and now it's my home, and I integrate and I get on with. I try my best to speak Spanish. But if you go and look at, if you bring in mass amounts of people into a country and you put them into hotels or wherever they're housing them and put them in there, you don't know their backgrounds, you don't know where it's from. There could be extremists of some sort. You run the risk of real social problems, integration, racism towards them, racism in the other direction. And then it's just not a way of doing this. And I don't know why the governments are doing it. I haven't a clue. I have ideas about it. I just think that it's got to be looked at and it's got to be managed a lot better than it is. And it's not healthy for the country. And the countries do seem to be getting more dangerous. Like, you go to Dublin, it looks more dangerous. The streets are not the same. It's not the Ireland that I remember,
Gone really deep here, haven't we?
Yeah, I don't know, but I've no solutions to it. So, but, when you're talking about that, it's, the Trump thing and all that, only time will tell.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful because I see the people that are behind him. I see Tulsi Gabbard, very interesting lady. And I really hope she blows the lid on a lot of the hidden secrets that the American government have been hiding from their people. I look at Robert F. Kennedy, and I look at him and I see a guy who is at his age extremely healthy, eats healthy food, trains regularly, and he's going to be the guy who looks after our health. He wants to stop the chemicals going into the food. He wants to make sure that vaccines are properly checked before they're injected into people. So I have a real positive feeling about this guy. You know, and you look at Elon Musk, okay, there's lots of things to dislike about Elon Musk, but he's going to go into the government and look at how they spend their money. He already is, and he's found a lot of dodgy dealings and money going to very strange places. I think that that's really important to be looked at. So if these guys, as much as you hate them, and whether you're left-wing, you know, progressive, whatever, liberal, he comes in and changes everything and makes it better. And I heard this in a podcast recently. The water rises all boats. Whether you're liberal, left-wing, whatever it is, if the country improves, then all boats get better and everyone's lives get better. So then he's been voted in. Everyone should root for that's what they want. They shouldn't root for anything else other than to see him improve the country and make it better for the people that live there and make everyone's lives better and flow in behind that.
Shall I tell you why he got him? I spoke to my mate, Big Dave, over in Hoboken.
Big Dave.
He'll be watching this, by the way, because he watches.
All right, Big
stuff.
Dave.
And he's a great guy. And he said to me, we were sat having a Jameson in Louise and Jerry's in Hoboken.
Yeah.
That's where I spent most of my time, actually.
Is that a bar, is it?
Yeah, Louise and Jerry's. And we sat there and I said, I said, I hope he's going to get him, but I'm not a trumper because I just didn't like. I thought the other lady was just off her head. But then he said, "Oh, he'll get in. And I said, "Why do you think he'll get in?" And he said, "Because Kamala Harris was like, oh, we need equality, we need this, we need that." And Dave said, and he got the nail on the head. He said, I won't swear. He says, we just want to be able to put food on the table.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, he said. And my niece said the same thing. She says, I went to, not Waitrose, she went to, Waitrose isn't over there, she went to Walmart and Target. And she said, I can't believe I've got a little, this much food and it's cost me like $300. And I know from being over there and when I had my place, the amount of money that things are now is insane. Yeah. And I knew that is all people are interested in. They're not interested in anything else. They're not bothered.
But that is that not the purpose of the government?
Yeah.
To serve its people.
They're supposed to work for us and they don't.
To serve the people, to give people a better life. We pay taxes, we're tax money so that we have good healthcare, we have good roads, we have good defense in case something goes wrong. Yeah. All those things are why we pay tax. We don't pay tax so that our government can sneak money into private funds and
that's what they do. You've got Ed Miliband, right, in the UK, who's in charge of all bringing in electric cars and all environmentally friendly stuff, and yet the businesses that are going to benefit from this, he's got allegedly, I'll say, got shares in, so he's going to benefit from it. And the guy's a complete. I can say this to Sam Matchell. The guy's a cockwomble, isn't he? I mean,
I got an interest when I heard on a podcast recently. I want Colin to check the exact figures, and it was like there was the American government spent I don't know how many million, or it could have been billion, on electric car points, right? And they only managed to build 2 for charging, and they spent millions. And where's that money gone? I also heard a counter fact check saying that the funds are still there waiting to be used, but apparently they only built 2 electric charge. Is that anything there, Carl? Yeah, go on. So Colin's just checking, but this I can never pronounce it right. USAID or USAID or USAID. Yeah. Politico.com. Thanks very much. 7.5 billion. And how many charging stations they built?
So where's the rest of the money gone?
So $7.5 billion was put aside and they built 7 charging stations. That's $1 billion a charging station. Now, if anyone knows anything more about it, you can drop it in the comments and let us know. I'm not going to read it anyways, but but like but this is a regular thing, and one of the things I think, I'm really hoping with all our hearts, hoping that that's what Trump is going to do. He's going to open up the books and say, this is what we're doing. This is what the government has done in the past. This is what we're doing now. You're our employers. We're going to be open about what we're doing. Go on, Carl, sorry. So 2021, there was $7.5 billion allocated. And by 2023, Carl? 7 charging stations. If you worked for a company and that was your results, like a private company, you would be fired immediately.
100%, yeah.
Because what are you doing? Like, are these extremely fast charging points that you don't even have? They're wireless. You just drive by and you're charged. More than $1 billion per charging station. That's insane. But this is like, and this is one. Go on, Carl. Sorry. So there's still $5 billion left over.
So it
got $2.5 billion. So it cost $2.5 billion. Like, so here's a question, right? If you own, that's insane. So if you own a company, right, and you come in, you're now the new CEO, which is Donald Trump, right? He comes in, he sees this fund, and there's been $7.5 billion allocated to build charging stations. And you look at the results and you go, right, you've had this for how long? It's 2021 to 2023. You've had this for roughly two years. You've managed to build 7 charging stations with $2.5 billion. And would you be annoyed at the new CEO for saying, lads, you know what, you're doing a fantastic job. Keep going. Hopefully we'll have another 14 by 2026. Yeah. So, no, you're going, hey mate, that's not happening anymore. We're giving it to someone who can build it for real. Like, you know what I mean? And there's been lots of these things come up. Carl, can you check something? There was a fund put together that was to do with Iraqis being able to watch Sesame Street.
What?
Right? There was a load of money allocated to that. And seeing how a turtle could walk on a treadmill, that was the other thing. There was a load of money put aside from that. I could be wrong. I only heard this on a podcast, so I'm just going to get Colin to fact check it. But that's insane. So we'll see what Colin says about it. But that's $7.5 billion. Like, this is money obviously being filtered out of the government somehow to someone for... Is it being spent on those things? Highly unlikely. Go on, Colin, sorry. Yeah.
So it says US Agency for International.
There you go.
How many?
How many million?
$20 million.
Yeah.
We could have produced that for cheaper.
You could have produced that for probably $500,000.
Yeah.
Probably. So I don't know where that money's gone. What was? Did you find the one with the turtle on a treadmill? There was some fun
Turtle on a treadmill.
or some creature on a treadmill to see how it walked for a certain length of time. I don't know if it was a turtle or what creature it was, but like that's money that we're working hard for, that we're paying taxes on, and they're spending it on this crazy stuff. Like, and then how people can think it's not a bad thing for someone to come in and pull the plug on all this nonsense and redirecting the country in a way that's going to improve the country. Now, I know people say he's racist and all this stuff. I've yet to see how he's racist. Like, a lot of the people he works with and have worked from are from different ethnic backgrounds.
His wife's from a different ethnic background. She's from a different country.
The turtle thing was
$900,000 for what?
but it was
Not too bad.
I mean, we're quite a million.
$900,000, a lot of money.
compared to the other use of funds, it was aimed at.
So what were they doing?
Give us 900 grand.
900 grand.
Look at this.
According to Eureka Alert.
Thanks to Eureka Alert.
I mean, the whole world's gone
But
nuts.
that's mental, like. That's 900,000. I really don't think you need that much money. Like, who gets 900,000? Like, It's insane.
Did the turtle get any of it?
Did the turtle get any of the money, Carl? I mean, you could have spent €900,000 to maybe improve the environment where the turtles are living and protect that environment.
Honestly, the world at the moment's gone nuts. And I also, I've got a massive thing now where I just disagree to pay the BBC for a TV licence. I cancelled mine.
Yeah.
I cancelled it.
But in the UK, do you have to legally pay for...
If you're watching live TV or a streaming or something or whatever, but it doesn't involve Netflix. But now what BBC have said is we're now going to push for the fact that you have to have a licence if you're watching Netflix, and they're pushing for that. But Netflix won't get any of that money. So if I was Netflix, if you're watching, sue the BBC and close them down.
There you go.
Because it's an antiquated way, an antiquated corporation that basically harboured criminals like Jimmy Savile and the other newsreader. Well, you can do, because the BBC, were
worried he was working there.
They was working there.
What was the other thing you had, Carl? I can see.
Probably the biggest waste of money.
Let's hear this. 420,000 to give. And what was the results?
The rats were really happy.
The rats took over the government. Was there any results?
Studies have shown that increased dopamine detox.
So what? To give them more cocaine?
No, to help them humans.
By giving them more cocaine?
No, giving the rats cocaine.
So giving the rats cocaine helps people? Okay, so that's how much that costs the American government? to give rats cocaine.
I mean, the world's gone nuts, hasn't it?
Are they giving rats cocaine in the UK?
I don't think so. No,
No?
I think all the rats have left. To go out of here.
But do you think a lot of people are because like a lot of big businessmen, where are they going? Like
they're
Dubai,
leaving.
innit? A lot of them are going to Dubai and places
yeah.
like this because the taxes are lower, the quality of life is better. Okay, things are a lot more expensive in Dubai than they are in the UK or here, for example. But they're leaving because it's not a great place to be.
We could go really deep here, and I know it's getting late, but I just think there's a lot going on, and with freedom of speech, we're being curtailed from speaking the truth on things.
Yeah.
I also believe Russell Brand, for instance.
Yeah, interesting dude.
Yeah. He was trial by media he had.
Yeah.
At what point, right, and I don't know whether he's guilty or not.
I mean, me personally, I can't listen to Russell Brand, but when I listen to some of the stuff he says, he's a very intelligent man.
But they cancelled him.
Points. They cancelled him to do with something like Carl had a Carl, you met Russell, didn't you?
Yeah, I did when I lived in London.
And he was sound, no?
One of the most giving you'd never see him.
He doesn't tell people that he's doing that, so he's paying for a lot of people to get clean.
But he was a wild one.
Yeah, yeah.
He was
But
a
he
wild
never had to want for women though.
No.
Women would have thrown themselves at him. He had no reason to be.
But it was trial by media.
Yeah.
He got his YouTube account cancelled and demonetized. He was told that he I don't know if I can say these things, but raped women.
Yeah.
But the women never came forward.
Yeah.
And then the government.
We'll have to beep that out, but like people don't know what you're on about.
Yeah. Then the. Sorry, I might give you some work to do there. Then the government, right, actually got in touch with Rumble, which is like a YouTube.
Yeah, I know of it.
Right,
Yeah.
and told Rumble to cancel him. And this was a woman in government, right?
On that note, I remember I was listening to a podcast recently, where it was actually Mark Zuckerberg. You would have heard this one as well, where he was having politicians screaming at him down the phone, telling him to remove stuff off Facebook, or he would have serious problems and there'd be consequences, like where they were screaming, like saying, "You need to remove that. It's fake. It's this whole thing. And even like Facebook are now going down the community notes way. So like, I don't know if you've seen on X, formerly known as Twitter,
You
where
can say anything on there.
they
can't
don't
you?
delete things. What they do is they have community notes where it'll say that this has been fact checked and, you know, this is wrong. I don't know exactly how they work. Holly, do you know exactly how it works? They put this note below and that gets voted on if it's correct or not. I think that's it. Someone might correct me. But Facebook are going down the same line where they're going to have community notes instead of just taking stuff off. And I think YouTube need to go down that line as well. I think freedom of speech is freedom of speech. Different thing if you're showing like really disgusting things that are, you know, just violent.
So,
But being able to talk about your opinion on things
X has
should
gone
be,
the
should
other
be
way.
allowed. Like,
X has gone the other way because some of the stuff that comes up on there, I'm like, I don't want to see this. And you don't know whether it's real anyway. But
no, but that's where the community notes comes in.
I just think that the cancel culture that's coming now, because they don't, in the UK now, especially with two-tier Kia, he doesn't want you to say anything.
Yeah.
You can't say anything and you get imprisoned for it. And it just winds me up. You got Russell Brand, who has been cancelled because of that. And then I also believe you've got like the...
You were telling me that you were getting kind of...
I was warned
people were saying to you like that you might need to stop pushing at the EV car thing.
With the EV, negative EV stuff, I was warned by a certain person in the motor industry that if I keep on doing what I'm doing, I'll lose my channel.
That's crazy, like.
So I had
because
to
you can't express an opinion about cars.
So I had to tone it down a little bit. I made it a little bit more comical, you know. But I'm less controversial of what I said or what I say.
Yeah.
Because if you do, I could be cancelled. Some of my videos I think one got 1.3 million views, or probably
That's
more
crazy.
now. And they always get loads of views, and I've stopped people buying them.
I think, like, the only thing I would say about life and in life in general, in my opinion, in a way, we kind of, like, there's all this stuff going on with governments, the way we live our lives, how we perceive ourselves, ego,
No water in
whiskey. I think the deepest and most kindest thing you can do is just be decent to the people around you.
Yeah.
Be kind to them. Be loving. Be, you know, I don't want to sound cheesy, but and I just want to say this one thing that happened to me recently. It was I had an operation a little while ago. I don't know if I told you the story. Like, I've had a few operations in my life, and it's been like asleep, awake, and there's nothing in between. You just lose that time. So if anyone's having an operation, you understand what I'm saying.
I did have an operation not too long ago.
So you know what it's like. It's like that time is taken from you.
Yeah.
And you're just awake again. And there's nothing in between.
It's like countdown from 10 and you're gone by 9.
But then you're awake.
Yeah.
And it's like
there's
that.
Nothing in between.
That's gone.
And you think, is that death?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
No, because I tell you, well, I don't know what this was, but I was supposed to have an operation was for 5 hours what it was scheduled for. And I went sleep, and then all of a sudden I'm in this place that I can only explain to you was like, I was like a light in the middle of darkness, connected to everything, the universe, everything. All I felt was love, no pain, no sadness, no nothing. I felt like everything made sense. There was nothing wrong with. I felt like this is what it's all about. I feel no pain. I feel no sadness, no worry, no anxiety. I felt connected to everything in the world, the universe. This sounds insane what I'm saying, but this is what happened. I'm not telling you what it is. I can only tell you what my experience was. When that happened, I was like, wow, this is amazing feeling, yeah? And then all of a sudden, this light, like a circular light, not like I was walking towards a light. The light had people in it, and the people were the doctor and the nurses and all that. And they're going, Daniel, 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 like this. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I'm actually really okay. And I'm not going to curse, but I'm really okay here. I don't want to come back. Leave me here. I'm really happy. This is a great place. And then I went to blackness and I'm awake. And that's all I can tell you what happened.
Yeah.
But since then, I'm really trying to connect back with what that is. And what that is for me is that we're all somehow connected to that source. And that source just wants us to be kind to everything and everyone around us. To people and, you know, be welcoming to them and be, you know, I had an experience recently. There's a person that I fell out with a while back, and I've struggled being around that person. And I remembered that moment when I was, you know, in the operation, and I thought to myself, reach out to this guy, invite him to come out with us this evening. And, you know, the night we had out on Saturday night, I won't tell you which person it was, but one of those people there, I was struggling being around that person. And I reached out and I said, you know, what would the source or God or whatever you want to call it want me to do? He'd want me to be warm and welcoming to this person and invite them in. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with us. We try and divide everything, whether you're left, right, Republican, whatever it is. Donald Trump's a nasty piece of work, but he's still got a kind heart. He's got kids. He's got a family. He seems to have brought them up with good respect, and the way you see them, how they conduct themselves in life. You look at even the people we dislike, Starmer, all like, we should still find a way.
Well, I don't know Starmer, so, you know, it's easy for me to say, well, I don't like him, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I don't know him.
But you could meet him and he could be the best dad. He could be the most amazing dad to his kids. He could be an amazing husband. You just don't know, misled, whatever it is, or just, you know, just trying to do the best. So it's like that understanding. But we still should have the right to be able to disagree with people, but in a way that's not like disrespectful. You know, if you were to ask me, one of the things I dislike about Trump is the fact that sometimes he's just downright insulting. Instead of being insulting, come across with a good argument.
Yeah.
You know, that would be one of the things I don't like about him. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, as people, we should just be try our best to be kind to each other, and not, you know, still be able to voice our opinion when we believe you're wrong or we're wrong or whatever it is, but allow people to have that voice.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with the society today. They're taking our voice away.
Yeah, they are.
You
I
know.
think a lot of it, though, stems down to the internet, personally. I think the internet and mobile devices and mobile phones. My youngest daughter, Harriet, you know, she's always on a phone, iPad, computer, excuse me. And I think we lived a better childhood than they do now. We had a better childhood, and certainly a safer one. I mean, I never, my dad never sent me to school thinking I was going to get stabbed. I mean, you know, we had a scrap, and you know, on a Friday or whatever, you're going to get duffed up after school or whatever. But you know, then we were all right. That was it.
I was listening to a podcast. I was listening to this podcast this morning, right? And he was talking. The guy was talking about how people learn on computer games and learn on, you know, from watching videos on YouTube. But nothing is as valuable as learning from real life situations and experiences in life, be it in the wild, be it in your job, or be it in anything like this. You become a better or a stronger person from the downfalls, the ups, the downs, from actually going out and experiencing there. Just being stuck in your home and locked into your screen or whatever it is, you're never going to grow as a person or experience as much as you would in the real world. Like, and I think it's really important, you know, not to, you know, I mean, watch loads of these videos, but not to, you know, get locked into this kind of, you know, disconnect from the world, and, you know, and try not to make your world the screen. Like, do
you feel like you meet certain people throughout your life? It's like, you know, like Closing Doors, the movie, where, you know, if you turn one way, you turn the other. Yeah. It's like, if I'd have not gone to film at the Palms, Chippy, then I wouldn't have met Lorraine. Lorraine wouldn't have said to you, oh, you need to get in touch with this guy. And it's like a Closing Doors kind of thing, but there's certain reasons why people cross each other's paths. And Jeff Carter, my good mate Jeff Carter, he said, you're on a train, and there's certain people that get on that train at certain times, and you're on the same journey, but they get on the train and they get off the train.
100%, he's right. Like,
and I think he's right with that. But I believe there's reasons that people's paths cross in life.
Lessons to learn, man. And you're going through, like, I know that, like, for example, Colin now, we met, and we've been through very similar traumas in our lives. Like he lost all his parents within a short period of time. I lost all my parents in a short. When I met you, your mother was dying. You know, we do cross paths. I mean, even to the point where Colin's actual his second name is my mother's maiden name. Like, I met James at the same time, who's from Bradford, from not far from where my mother grew up. There's just, he was going through some stuff. I just think that it's not coincidental. But you're only open to it if you choose to be open to it. So if you're drugged up or you're partying, you're completely closed to all that sort of stuff, you will not see it and you will not learn from it. But if you're open and you're in the moment where you see those things and your soul eye, or whatever you want to call it, where you're going, right, I can see why that's happening in my life. It's not just, I met John down the pub and that's why I met him, because we wanted to go for a pint. No, he crossed my path for that reason. And you know what it has done for me? It's really helped me make decisions that have led me in the direction that I believe, what I call God or the source or whatever it is, has given me a sign and said, this is the direction you need to go. You need to do it honest. You need to do it decent. You need to follow it. And I see those things clearly because I'm open for them. My practice for opening them is I meditate every day. I do things and I try and do the right thing, and those opportunities and those moments appear, and I don't see them as coincidences. I see them as, directional signs, and like we bounce off each other. You come in and out of my life at different points, whatever that lesson is for us to learn, or whatever it is, like this conversation that we're having now. Maybe this conversation, someone listens to it and goes, that's absolute nonsense. Someone listens to it and goes, do you know what? I really learned something from that, or it triggered something I need to change in my life. Or they look at you and they say, oh, Lee's journey was this, I want to follow the same journey. Whatever it may be, I do believe that we hear and see things at certain times that guide us in a direction that, if we're open for that, hearing that, our lives can improve. Like,
exactly, I agree. I 100% agree.
And the moment we think we know everything, we're not learning.
Yeah.
The moment we sit here and say, right, you know what, I have this licked. I understand exactly how the world goes. I know what you do. I know what everyone does. You're literally closing your mind to experiencing new things in your life and learning new things.
It's a journey.
100%, man.
It's just a journey. You meet different people. I mean, I met Sarah through an old friend of mine, and at his wedding, and it was his niece, and then it was Sarah, and we ended up being together. And I remember saying to him, I really can't make your wedding. I can't make your wedding. I ended up going, and then I've ended up being with her. I've been with her 14 years now.
You've got two beautiful kids.
Yeah.
And that might not have happened. And it is the way. And what's next? What's next for the MacMaster? We don't know.
No more kids.
No more kids.
No more kids. No more kids.
But there is, is it going to be EV cards that you're going to keep doing your videos on? Is it going to evolve to something else?
I mean, to be
I'm
honest,
not asking for an answer.
I can give you the answer. Do I want to carry on daily vlogging? No, absolutely not. And because you don't experience life when you're filming every day.
Yeah.
You don't have a life. You are filming, editing. And to be honest, I love filming.
Yeah.
I love the creativity of it. I can take or leave the bit in front of the camera, but there isn't anybody else to do it. And it's been me, portraying the MacMaster character. I don't. To be honest, tonight I haven't been that character. I've just been me.
Yeah.
And
being Dan.
Being Dan.
being Lee.
Changing my name now. Being Lee. Copying you now.
Yeah. From MacMaster to Crackmaster to being Dan and being Lee, eh? Be a new channel.
But I will say, you've got it 100% right. We'll finish this off, but you've just got to be nice. I think it's important to be nice to people, and that's why if anybody comes up to me, I've always got the time of day for them. There are certain places. I was in hospital the other week with a member of my family, and somebody came over and asked for a picture, and it was awkward.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm good, and I feel then I've got to be, all right. I was all right, but I'm thinking it's a bit awkward. So I think, but other than that, I'm like, just come and say hi. I won't say nobody because everybody's somebody, but it, just be nice to each other. Yeah, 100%. Because without the people out there, I wouldn't have. I lost my business in lockdown, and I was happy being a graphic designer. I was good at what I did.
Yeah.
And I was doing also corporate video for the newspapers, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that. I was going around filming. I was living in America, but flying back to just film the stuff. So I was flying back, going around Women in Business, Food and Drink Awards, just with my camera, not an iPhone, a proper camera, filming the stuff, sending it back to my ex-wife who edited it. And there was a lady who was, arranging it all, and who I knew really well from a long time ago. We won't go into that one. So
story.
It was all worked together. I'd do that. I'd go off back to America. They'd edit it, and it was done. And I loved that part of it. And then lockdown came, and it just...
And this is kicked off.
It just kicked off, yeah. And I was enjoying my life because I'd go back to the UK, do what I needed to do. I'd do a couple of websites in America, and I'd got to the point where I didn't really have to do that much. I'd just go back and do bits of stuff, and my apartment was almost paid for in the States, and I'd just go. I'd sit. To be honest, I'd got it off to a T. It was brilliant, right? We've gone full 180. Is it 180?
360?
360. It's only half the way, isn't it? I should know. Too much Jameson. It's full 360. We've gone full 360. I'd get up at 4 a.m. I'd work till midday.
Yeah.
And that was UK hours. So I'd build websites for this lady in the UK, and I'd do a couple of other things. And then I'd go down to the bar and I'd drink. It's probably just as well. I'd sit at the bar and drink.
Probably a good thing. Yeah.
Sit with my mate Damien, have drinks, and then I'd go back, go to bed, get up again, work. And it was a constant thing. A bit of a loop. So yeah, I had a great time over in the States. It'd probably be a bit different now though when I go back, because I put water in my Jameson now because I don't want to get hangover. I can't stand it.
Yeah,
I ain't got time.
I haven't felt a hangover in a long time. Well, look, Lee, bro, love you, man. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll have to do this again in the next few months and see where you're at. See if you're still slagging off EV cars.
I'll be hopefully
we can do that road trip sometime.
I'd love to do the road trip. You know what's going on at the moment, so.
I wish you all the best of that, bro, and love. And I'm at the end of the phone, man. Whenever you need me, and look. And
that's what a lot of people, these trolls don't care anyway. They don't care anyway. They don't care.
Who cares? The people that care, we're here, man. Your friends are around you. We all give it.
Can I say thanks to all the viewers that do watch me, and I have a lot of viewers that come up to me and have been on the videos. And when I went to Australia, for instance, I met up with a lot of the viewers, and Andrew out there who's from Sutton in Ashfield, I messaged him. He says, I've watched it all the time. I said, we'll meet up. We did videos with him. And he says, I gave him my number. He says, I won't message you too much. I don't want to sound weird. I'm like, no, message me, because we're, got on really well. So if he's watching, hopefully I'll see him back in Sydney. G'day. And it was great. I think that's the best thing. We'll finish on this. That's the best thing. Well, it's not just travel, it's your journey and who you meet along the way. And I think the best thing...
shape you like.
Yeah. The best thing about YouTube, if I'm being entirely honest, apart from the money, is meeting people. That's just a joke. It's meeting people. And it's great because I've met you, I've met Geoff Carter, I've met Scott Smith, I've met Tim. I don't want to miss anybody out. I've met everybody, and that's the great thing about it. You meet so many lovely people along the way, and that's the best thing about YouTube. And I never say fans, because I just don't see being a YouTuber as being famous. It just
there's a certain level of fame with it, man. You can't deny that.
I see it as like a family, like friends. So there you go.
Keep it coming, bro.
Keep it coming.
Keep those experiences. Hopefully, we'll have some more experiences to chat about the next time you go on. Love you, man. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.